Everything that we dined on before this, they're all aphrodisiacs. Of course, oysters, but also honey. Everything we're doing tonight has some sort of aphrodisiac part to it. Your roll tonight, the spiciness in the tuna also plays a role. Avocado, the levels of vitamin E in it have said to spark sexual levels. But we wanted you guys to have a sensual time here and be able to experience how to roll and also how to roll a doobie. And the good thing is, after you roll a doobie, rolling the sushi is that much easier because it literally is pretty much the same thing. When I went to school about a decade ago, I've been making sushi for almost my whole life, but about a decade ago, the first day in class when we had to do our uromakis, which is a little harder, the inside out, once I did one of them, I was like, pinkies tuck in on the ends, the whole thing. So when you're doing that, keep that same sense, all right? So we want to do the doobie first, that way we can touch on it a little bit, and that way when you get done with your sushi roll, you'll be able to enjoy both at the same time. They should pair well together. Like she said, the citrus notes always flavor well with tuna, spicy tuna, and like ponzu sauce if you've ever had it. That's a citrusy flavored soy sauce. Pairs really well with spicy tuna. So to get into our flour, we have this delicious, well, you guys probably don't have all this, but this delicious cup of high grade here, some grapefruit, which was one of my favorites growing up, grapefruit haze, so I know that's part of this strain. So first off, finding the right flour. Organic is a plus. Make sure that you know where you're getting your flour from. If you go to a dispensary, clinic, whatever you want to call it, ask them. Always ask questions. Make sure what you're putting in your body is healthy and good and is going to make you feel even better and maybe alleviate some of your pain. It shouldn't cause more pain or a raspy throat or something like that. So double check them. Make sure they're using the proper stuff on what you're about to put into your body. For me, I strictly do organic only, and always try to find where the source is. So find your favorite place to go. When you do that, proper grind on it. You never want to grind it too much. This is a little fine for my taste. I do like mine a little more coarse. That way it connects and holds together in your doobie or joint or your swisher, whatever it may be. So when you're doing it, I always make sure you don't have any stems, sticks, or seeds in there. If you have seeds in there, you should probably go somewhere else. So I'd never put any in the center, of course. For me, I use these when I'm out and about, but at home, what I would do is go get a little coffee grinder. They're like $13 at Target, and you just strictly use that for your flour. Makes a nice little keef box at home and everything. So you could take this whenever you're out cruising around, going camping, whatever, you need your medicinals. And then when you're at home, I always like to use my little coffee grinder, strictly for flour. And then trick tips with that, give a little 1, 2, 3. Try not to over grind it. And this guy, you just want to get it through the holes. If it doesn't go through, give it a little tap. Really the idea is just to get it to where it'll smoke through and they're not actual still little nugs. So once you got that going on with your paper, I like to I like to trim mine down if I'm going to smoke by myself. But if I'm smoking with other people and I'm rolling a little bigger, just all depends on how much I'm putting in there. Because you don't want to have too much paper, and then you're tasting paper. Also, with mine, I like to take some scissors and do some little cuts on the corners, just because sometimes these corners can be a jerk and not tuck in properly. I like to put my crutch in after I roll my joint rather than before. That way I can tuck it a little smaller, put it in and expand it, so it makes it super tight. So I always do this to make it super easy to make sure that circumference is clean and it doesn't bunch up. So I'm gonna put a little bit of this stuff that I just ground out of the awesome grinder that MJU hooked up. And then I'm gonna take a little bit of, let's see here. At home, always use a little tray. Keep all your stuff in there. Makes it so you can pick it up easier. You don't lose any of that goodness, which is all of it. How's everybody doing? Has everybody got it in? No, still grinding? How's everybody doing? All right, so if you're having trouble, you want to get it all kind of towards the center. You want to leave a little off from the edge. Makes it a little easier. You could kind of pack it in on the corners if a touch, if need be, if there's trouble. Then just roll down towards you, just like Marlboro Man. Twist her up. I like to do it in the center first and then go out to the sides. How's yours? Okay, so you should have your doobie or your baseball bat, whatever, however big you rolled it. Then if you like to use the crutches, I like to put mine in afterwards. So, and then you got your doobie there. I like mine straight. Some people like them coned. Bob Charlie. Some people like to roll 3. So we're going to set these guys aside, and we'll be able to roll and smoke more. While I'm talking about this, if you're that talented and multitask, like maybe you were in class, if somebody was in class some time ago, you can roll another doobie while I talk about how to roll the sushi. Now, before we get to the fruits of our labor, let's get into the roll here. Now they're gonna go around and they're gonna hand you a set of gloves. Now this is a trick tip for when you're at home or you're having a sushi party or whatever. You throw on these gloves, make sure they fit well, not too loose. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna put a dab of oil. I have some oil here. They're gonna go around with a little bit of oil as well. So choose your size. I got large, medium. I put a little dab of oil, grapeseed. I use grapeseed because it has no flavor, and also it's the healthiest one for you. Also price-wise, it's pretty good. Make sure you double check that as well. You can go online and see which ones are actually 100% grapeseed, because a lot of them will put blended oil in there, and you don't want that. So the idea and the trick with this is when you just use your hands and you haven't played with rice a lot, it sticks to your hands really fast. So this is going to be an easy trick tip when you're at home and you're impressing guests. You don't have to go wash your hands so much, because that's what's going to be the problem. your hands run at about 100 degrees and they just stick to rice like crazy until you wash rice for a month, 2 months, and then the starch will make your hands smooth to where they don't really stick to the rice anymore. So that's why we use the glove. And what you're going to do, it makes it nice, clean, and easy, and you can rip them off and throw on new ones. You're going to touch the oil, just a small little dab. You're going to run it all over your hands, all right? Run it all over the backside, everything like that. Make sure you get your thumb. I always would forget my thumb. So this is going to make it so the rice doesn't stick to it. Now, what you have in front of you is a bowl of water. That bowl of water is called your tasu. Now, your tasu is what you use to dab your hands and keep it from the rice sticking to them as well. Because you don't want to have tons of oil all over your hands. You're going to ruin the consistency of your rice and the roll. The nori will get super soggy and all of that. So it's just a little dab of the oil. Then you go into the water, get it all lathered up all over the hand. Once you have that, try not to get it all over your cutting board. Try not to get it all over your cutting board. We don't want water all over our cutting board because that's where we're going to put our nori, our seaweed, and that's where we're going to do our rolling. So we want to make sure our nori stays nice and crisp because it will ruin the flavor of your roll. It'll be all chewy and all that. So we want to make sure it's nice and dry in front of you. You got the water, the oil, so let me get a little oil. Literally a little touch, boom. We're going to go into our tasu, and this is the fun part. This is where you get everybody's attention. Maybe you've heard it in a sushi bar, but you slap your hand. So you do it over to the side, get a good slap. And what we're doing is we're getting the perfect consistency on our hands to where we don't have too much water or too less of water. So everything's about the perfect consistency, okay? So now, when you go out and you get your product for sushi, make sure you're going to a Japanese store, okay? If you go to an American or an American store, Vaughn's, whatever, they're going to overcharge you for the product. Go to each store for what they specialize in or where they come from, if that makes sense. Like Serrano's, you would go to El Super or something like that so you can get them for a lot cheaper. That's also what this is about tonight, is educating you guys on where to go to get the right stuff so you don't get charged an arm and a leg or you don't get some bad product as well. A lot of sushi bars these days, it's so flooded that they don't even know what they're doing, okay? They're using pre-ground tuna that's frozen. If any of you guys were here earlier, you could have saw, we were chopping up the tuna, like fresh tuna straight from Hawaii. I picked it up from LA yesterday morning at 6 a.m. I was the first customer in the fish market. That's how you get good product. Get there early. If you want to do a sushi party and you're going to a Japanese place or a fish market, I would suggest going to a fish market over a Japanese place for your fish because they specialize in fish. But you get there earlier, you're going to get a better product. You get there on a Thursday rather than a Saturday, you're going to get a better product because they will burn through it. Rice, things like that, buy those at a Japanese store. Make sure you're getting short to medium grain. This is koshikari rice. That's the brand name, koshikari. And this is a really, really quality grain of rice. Short grain, you can see it's very shiny. But go check it out. You could try different types of rice. You'll find one you like more than the others. But also, everything you do, always double check it. That's what's so great about our phones these days. You can Google it so fast on the fly when you're in the aisle and see if it's legit. A good, fair price brand is Shirakiku. This one's a higher end brand. That, of course, what we would give you guys, always high end, high dining. But if you want a lower grade, more bang for your buck. Shirakiku is a good one, okay? Most places use botan and these rices that shouldn't even be used for sushi. They're made in China. They should be used for Chinese food. Japanese rice for Japanese sushi, okay? So we got our rice out of the way. That's the most important thing, all right? So when you're gonna go do your rice, this is the thing that everyone does not know, I feel, and they don't understand it. Rice takes about an hour and 15 minutes to an hour and a half to make perfect sushi rice. It's not something you just put in the rice cooker and it comes out, you know? So this is something where you have to actually get in there and you have to make love to the rice, okay? We call it polishing. Now, you're gonna have a bowl. I put a bowl with a strainer inside of it and put my rice in there. You wanna fill it halfway, the water to rice, and you're gonna literally make love to the rice with your hand. You're gonna like give it a massage for about a minute, maybe even both hands, all in there, making love to it. Yeah, you're kneading it. You don't wanna smash it because it's fragile. Rice is very fragile. You don't wanna break it up. If you go to sushi bars and you see the rice is all broken up, they don't really know what they're doing. They're using bad rice or they don't care. You wanna make love to it, sexy time, you know, infinity wash. I always try to keep a finger at the bottom. That way I know I'm not breaking the rice. You know, little finger at the bottom. Okay, so making love to the rice. There's no anger here. Making love. Valentine's Day. Okay. Sorry, I'm getting a little too into the rice. But you're going to do that. You're going to strain it. And you're going to keep doing that for a couple minutes. About 6 to 8 times you're going to strain it. You want to get that clarity of the water to where it almost looks clear. It's a little cloudy. A little bit of cloud still coming from the rice starch. But it's almost clear. Now that's going to be a much better tasting rice. It won't be as sticky. It'll be clean, a much cleaner flavor, okay? Whereas if you're just doing regular rice, you just wash it once, twice. This, you're polishing. You're making it so every single grain is the exact same, okay? After you wash it, you need to dry it. Before you can even cook it, you need to dry it properly. So you're going to leave it in the strainer. You got a ceiling fan or something up there. That'll be great for kind of drying it. You're going to do it about 15, 20 minutes. Once it's dry, now it's ready to cook. So it's a little bit of a process before you can even cook the rice. But doing that makes such a better product. The most important things in sushi, and I feel all cuisine, is your quality of your product and your care and your love, which is why we're here. Because we love sushi and we want to know how to do it the right way. So you did that 8 times, you got it dried, you pop it into your rice cooker, you're going to do a 1-to-1 ratio, water to rice, okay? If you have a big, huge rice cooker, which I know you don't have, there's other things that happen, blah, blah, blah. Everybody mostly has a 3 to 4 cup. With that, it's always a 1-to-1 ratio. If you think you're off, put your finger in there. If it goes up to the first crease on your finger, you're styling, all right? Kick it on. Once you see that thing flip to keep warm, it takes about 20, 25 minutes. Unplug it. The thing's gonna keep cooking for another 20 minutes, but you need to unplug it, otherwise it'll overcook and it'll get all mushy. We want the rice to still have texture, okay? So after that, unplug it, let it go for 20 minutes. Now you're ready to rock. John, you bring me the hengiri? Yes. Hey. After that, you're gonna use this. You could use something like this to cut your rice in, plastic or something like that. But really, at any of these Japanese stores, they have these, and they're fairly inexpensive. And what it is it's called a hengiri, Hangiri. And it's made out of cypress. Now, cypress is like the perfect porous wood to cut our rice in and everything. And what it does is it marinates it. You're gonna marinate it with your sushi su, which is a sushi rice vinegar. It marinates it, cools it, and gets every grain to that perfect consistency, and also to where it's not too wet or too dry. So these things cost about 30 bucks, but it's a very good purchase. You can get them at anywhere, Mitsuya, Marukai, Seiwa off Harbor, just over the 405. So you got that, boom, boom, boom. Here's your rice. What you're gonna do, you're gonna take your paddle, you're gonna run it, let me get this over here. You're gonna run it around the inside, just like that. Got that? You're gonna flip it, pop it out. Should come out clean if you wash your rice properly, if you gave it enough love, okay? So, after that, you're gonna take your sushi rice vinegar. You can buy this at the store, but again, double check the back. Make sure they're not using a high fructose corn syrup or something in there that's not good for you, okay? This, of course, I make mine from scratch. If you want a simple recipe, again, just go on Google and check, make sure you're checking a few of them before you decide on one. This is my sensei's recipe that he taught me, and then I took it and changed it and made it my own, which I feel mine's better. He uses, his salt is from Japan. My salt is actually from England. That's another thing. When you're making your sushi su, it's 3 simple ingredients. All it is your rice vinegar, just rice vinegar, salt, and sugar. You just blend the heck out of them for about 2-3 minutes. And then what I had in there is a little green piece of kelp. It's called konbu. You ask somebody at the front, they're not going to know what you're talking about. So you're going to have to go find it. It's kelp, okay? Kombu. So it's a dried, it'll be in sheets right next to the nori, which is seaweed. And it's dried sheets. And what that is a natural preservative. So when you make your sushi su, you put a little touch of that in there, and that's what keeps it from spoiling, okay? So very simple: sugar, rice vinegar, and salt. And again, my salt is from Malden, England, and it's called Malden sea salt. Some of the finest, taste-wise, sea salts in the world, straight from Malden. So you can get that one on Amazon. And you can only find it in a few stores, specialty stores, and like Sprouts, but they charge you an arm and a leg. It's like $5 for a tiny little portion, which you can't make much with. So on Amazon, they have it for like 3.3 pounds, which will last you a really long time, but it's only 30 bucks. So really, that's like, do the math. You're gonna have salt for a whole year. Where does salt go bad? Not in the container that it's in. And the flavor is ridiculous. That's another thing: quality of salt, quality of sugar, everything you ever do, and you're ingesting, just like the flour. Always make sure that it's good for you. That's a good way you're not going to get sick. Okay? So you got everything in there. What you saw me doing is I was cutting it out. I'm flipping it, enveloping it into each other. That way all that vinegar gets all mixed in, and then you cut it out horizontally, not vertically. That way you don't smash the rice and keep all that rice perfect, okay? Making love to it the whole time. Okay? Also, you're fanning it and cooling a little bit. You let it sit 5-7 minutes, flip it, cut it back out again, another 5 minutes. It's ready. You can put it into like a plastic container with a lid, or if you have like a mini cooler, those are awesome because also a cooler can keep stuff hot. So you pop that in there, and then you have perfect like room temp rice for when you do your party, and it stays perfect. Because if you leave it out like this, it'll just dry up and get all cruddy, okay? So you're gonna take like a dry a nice clean towel or cloth or whatever, you could get it wet with hot water and put it over it as well. That also keeps the quality longer, okay? Because really what happens is when you first get your rice, it'll be awesome and you're making stuff and it's really easy. But once it's sat out here forever, especially at first, because you're not going to be good at washing it, it just turns to crud, and then your rice, it's really hard to make good sushi, okay?
Hey, chef?
Yes?
Why do you use
The vinegar?
the vinegar?
The purpose? Well, that dates back hundreds of years, and the original purpose was for them to preserve the rice and also to preserve fish and everything. So su actually means rice vinegar. So sushi means rice vinegar. So everything that they did, vegetables, everything, they're all pickling it using vinegars. Their fish, if you go to sushi bars, they pickle a lot of their fish to keep the quality and preserve it, because we shouldn't be throwing stuff away. So it's just a really good keeping product. Also, it makes it so your rice will last a long time. With California and other states, they all have different laws on pH levels and stuff like that for your rice. So for here, I keep it under a 4.2 pH with the acidity for health reasons and stuff, okay? It also helps kill a lot of things that possibly could be in whatever is getting served to you. So there's many reasons for the rice, for the vinegar, also with the wasabi and ginger as well. Everything that they do and everything sushi is a purpose and for a reason. That's why I love doing it. All right, so rice is ready to rock. We put it into our container. Now it's time to roll. You guys all got your gloves on, probably getting a little hot in them. No? I got hot hands, so. All right. So they're gonna cruise around here in a second and we're gonna be dropping you guys off with rice. I'm gonna have you guys watch this first one because you really need to pay attention. I'll probably do 2, just so you guys can really see what's going on. So I have my little ball of rice. I'm gonna come around and help you portion it out. You wanna keep it slightly loose and a little oval. And then once you got that, you can show off and touch it to your nori, and it just sticks to it. So that's awesome, right? So you got it down. Make sure, yeah, we're good. So we got it down. What we're gonna be doing is fudomaki. Fudomaki is an inside roll. Udomaki is the rice on the outside. This one's fudomaki. This is the easier roll. That's why we're gonna do it for this. If you want, you can talk to me later. I do all sorts of classes and can come to your house and do sushi parties or whatever. So we could take it to that next level and you could, master all sorts of different ways to make sushi. But for this here, this is very easy and it makes you understand. So just like the doobie, you got it out there. I like to keep it in the center. What you're gonna do is kind of knead it with your hands. You're not gonna smash it down. You're just gonna kind of spread it out and lay it out. You're kind of painting the mat, the piece of nori with your rice, okay? Up at the top, I'm gonna just get it up, keep my line super clean. Everything you do should just kind of be very effortless and easy, okay? And never smashing down on the rice. You don't want your rice to be all smashed. And if you do try to smash, you're gonna break your nori. Nori will come apart and everything. You don't want too much rice on there because what's gonna happen is it's gonna mess up the consistency of your roll. You won't be able to taste the fish or this or that. Everything is always about consistency and making sure all parts can be tasted, okay? So we got that part done. As you can see, the lines are clean here. You don't want to be overlapped here. And then I leave a space at the top. That way it can roll into each other. So then you're going to you got your seasonings. I'm going to take some seasonings and just sprinkle it right over the rice. Makes it easy. This is Shishima Togarashi, which is kind of like a Japanese Cajun. There's a lot of different brands of this, so just go try this one, try that one. For this one and for most sushi items, I base the quality of the product, if I don't know it, on price range. So I take the highest price and the lowest price and take it right about 70% on price if I don't know the product until you do, okay? That way you know it has to be somewhat quality, okay? You don't want to buy something cheap. You're like, oh, it's better bang for your buck. It's not going to be quality. And probably the peppers are probably grown in America, whereas the soil in Japan is completely different. And your food will taste completely different, your spices, everything. So seasoning down, I'm gonna take some avocado. You could use a butter knife, whatever. When you do this at home, we already have them slightly cut for you, and I can just put out my avocado on there. You could have it flare out if you wanted to, out the ends. I just do little wedges with it, and if you have something that doesn't have a knife side to it, works perfect because you won't cut your hand, okay? You can get these at Chef's Toys off Ellis. So we got that going on. You got your little plate of goodies here. Here we have your cucumber, or in Japanese, it's kappa. Kappa. So we got our kappa down. What else we got here? We got some negi, sarasha negi, which means cheesecloth green onion. We got some freshly grated ginger, which is shoga. Shoga. You know a sushi bar knows their stuff if you ask them for shoga, and they bring it to you. Most places, they'll bring you like pickled ginger or something like that. That's when you know they don't know what they're talking about or what they're doing. They should tell you they don't have it if they don't have it. Pickled ginger is gari, and freshly grated is shoga. I prefer freshly grated any day of the week. Pretty much all ginger has some kind of dye or food coloring in it, and that's why I prefer the freshly grated. If you go to a sushi bar and they have pink ginger, leave, because they don't know what they're doing. Any real sushi bar has white ginger. If it is pink and it's just a slight little hue around the outside, it's too expensive for your blood, leave. Because what they're trying to emulate is a young pickled ginger. When you pickle ginger and it's young, it'll actually have a slight pink hue around the outside. And that's why they dye it to make it all look pink, which is false, okay? So I always stick with, you have it on your plates, I don't like it, the pickled, the white. That's a pretty good brand though. Okay, so you got your kappa, avo, serrano, if you want to make it spicier, you have that in front of you as well. Tobiko, this is a wasabi tobiko. Caviar, flying fish roe, a little spice to it. Now, rice up, you're gonna just smash, this is where you actually do a little smashing of the rice, because you're gonna use it as your glue on the nori to make it all stick. So for doobie, you use your tongue. For this, rice, okay? Some people use water, but then of course that just ruins everything of your roll. You're gonna make it taste soggy. So let me grab some tuna here. And we're gonna be using, this is that yellowfin tuna straight from Hawaii. Oh, this stuff is really good. So the spice and everything that I used on here, I used a little ryu, which is a sesame chili oil, which is delicious, delicious flavor. And for that, again, you're gonna have to find the right brand. Japanese brand, make sure it's not Chinese. If it's the Chinese one, they tend to use a lot more sesame oil in it. You want more of the chili flavor. That's gonna give you that backbone of your spicy tuna, okay? The cool thing about ryu, and especially this one, which I feel is the best one in the world, Iwai, I-W-A-I, is that it doesn't really come in until about 15 seconds into your bite, which is kind of cool. So, I have everything here. thumbs are going back behind the roll so I can kind of have it stand up. You would think go around, but think more when you're rolling it for structure, straight up, over and down until we get there. Then we're gonna curl it in and that will give you the actual roundness to it, okay? So fingers back here, go up. I keep all the ingredients tucked in with these 2 pointers, okay? Down and back into it to kind of tighten it, okay? You don't want it too tight because it'll break open, okay? And then there you have your sushi roll, okay? All right? So it should be sexy, beautiful. So then you're gonna take your maki su. Most people think that you actually do all the rolling and stuff with these, but as you saw, it was super simple without it. These things are strictly for molding, okay? So now I'll just mold it, tighten it up a little bit. The idea with this is you'll see 3 of them. You wanna go just past 3 of them, just slightly press down, over, out, and in a little bit, and back out, and then it comes out nice and tight, okay? Not too tight, but nice and firm. From there, this is where you're gonna, at home, take your best knife, whatever you have that's the sharpest. A nice thin blade is the best. You're gonna take into your tasu, just dip the blade in there, and run that water down to the butt of your blade, okay? So then when you go in there and you're cutting, makes it so it doesn't stick to the rice. Then make sure you're not cutting your fingers off. That's the first thing I learned in the kitchen was how to cut. So make sure you guys are being safe when you're cutting. Everything goes behind one finger. Make sure the thumb's tucked in. And then this is your guide. I mean, you can cut anything. I cut looking over here. I won't because I'll probably cut myself. Because yeah. Whenever you talk about it, that's when you do it, right? So you got it in there, dip to the blade, boom. And then make sure you're using the knife, okay? You don't want to push down and use your muscle. Make sure you're using the knife. That's why I said grab the sharpest one you got. If it's not sharp, take it to Chef's Toys. They'll sharpen it for you if you don't know how, okay? They do it for a fairly good price, okay? So we got to cut, cut, cut. We're going to do this one a 6-piece there. We'll take this stuff off here. So, and the fun part about sushi, another reason why I got into it is because you get to make everything into art. So not only do you get to make something that's delicious and healthy for you, but you get to plate it and then sauce it and food porn it up. So when I like to use my knife like it's my other hand sometimes. So you can plate it there, work it around, boom, boom, boom. And the cool thing about this is you can mess with your ingredients, put different things in there, whatever you think you're gonna want. But think about the pairing of it. Think about other types of food that pair well with things. Here I have some ponzu. I'll just brush on a little ponzu. With me and sauces and rolls, I don't really do rolls, but when I do, just like my sushi, you only touch your sauce to your fish, okay? So when you're eating sushi, sashimi, you always, with my sushi, I flip it over, touch the fish to the sauce. That way it doesn't drown into your rice and ruin the flavor of what you're eating, okay? If you need to do that with the soy sauce, again, you should probably leave that place. So you got that all dialed in. You could take, here I got some pickled shallot, which actually really pairs nice with it. So again, when you're at your house, you could play around with it, take stuff from other types of cuisine, add it to it. Think of anything pickled. It'll probably be pretty dang good with it, all right? So just simple little roll, but it'll be delicious. So, you guys ready to rock? Let's do this. Okay, spicy tuna. It's coming around. Let me get a little bit more for myself.
the nori goes long ways, not like the rolling pin, which goes the opposite.
Yeah, for this roll. The fudomaki, the inside roll, yes, this way. If it was the udomaki, it'd be the opposite way. Uh-huh. Cool. Okay, so everybody got their rice? Got it into an oval. Set it somewhat towards the center of your mat, your nori. I like to set it just off center. Everybody there? Cool. And now you're going to just start lightly pressing it out to the edges, okay? And you're just going to kind of cruise the entire mat and make sure it's all covered besides that one side that we need to leave for the rolling part. And if you have too much rice, just get rid of it, okay? Because otherwise, all you're going to taste is the rice. So, I had a little too much rice. Just get rid of it. So let's see. I'm going to cruise around, see how we're doing.
Okay.
Okay? Use your thumbs a little bit.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Nice. You're ready, huh? Maybe take a little bit of rice off of there and try not to press it down so much. Just because when we go to form it, that's when everything's going to mold together. Because remember, when we go with that maki su, the bamboo mat, and roll it and tighten it, that's all going to come together, okay? You want those flavors to meld together, and also you're going to make your rice hard. You just want to take a little bit off this middle because you want it to be consistent, okay? You want every bite to be the same. Boom. So maybe take off just a touch more rice off there. Don't forget your seasonings. We got the seasonings out here? Let's get some seasonings going on. Harden the paint. You like spice, right? Which one you want? Both?
Yeah.
Why not? Let's live a little. How are we doing? We getting close? Once you got it rolled up, just hold that thing high. Let's see if it'll stay in the air. Yeah. Stay together in the air. Oh, you got a burrito. Sushi burrito. Nice. Domo. You get to make whatever you want. And whatever way you want to make it is your way.
Chef, is it faux pas to put the wasabi on it? Or do
You can
need
put a
that?
little smudge of wasabi in there for a little extra heat. Yeah. Yeah. That's not too bad. Oh.
Hey. What can I improve on?
I think you just pressed it a little too hard on this side. Yeah.
Out. Oh,
Yeah.
That's nice.
But that's pretty good.
Thanks.
Set your doobie by your sushi roll so we can see how both your fares are here. Okay. So it looks like your right arm's a little better than your left. Yeah. So maybe you just squeeze just a touch too hard, and that's why it popped out. Good. How we do back here?
Good.
Sweet. Nori's nice and dry. That's actually a good, clean roll.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That was the best.
Just when you go to roll it, just make sure you tuck it in, back in towards you. That's beautiful. Hold that up. That's awesome. I love it. It is innovation. Nice. You kept your nori dry. That's good.
Is that dry?
That's good. Cool. If you guys haven't eaten yet, if you guys want sauce, we do have sauces for these. Soy. Beauty. Love it.
Love soy sauce.
You know how to say soy paper?
What? Soy pepper? No.
That's perfect. You said it perfect. Nice.
That's the sick, yeah.
Good. Oh, man. Stayed intact. Nice, clean in.
Thank you.
Very good. Nice. Good job. Okay. So you could clean up the rice a little bit. Just need to make sure when you form it up that you run your hands out like that.
Oh, I just kind of squeezed it.
Run your hands out so that way it'll all be even. Yeah.
Okay.
On this, just make sure your rice, maybe you flipped it around the opposite way, but you want to have that rice back. You don't want it to be shown there, because what'll happen if you weren't to eat this in the next 5, that rice will get hard on you.
Okay.
Yeah. You squeezed the heck out of this thing, didn't you? you squeezed all the life out of this. Look at all the tuna is on the outside of the roll. That was awesome. Good job.
Something about an ex-husband and dying.
Yeah. All right, let's get some sauces. Excuse me. This is garlic miji, spicy unagi.
Very nice.
He's gonna kill it right now. Look at that.
That's the yin and the yang.
So it's spicy unagi and miji.
Okay, thanks, man.
Yeah. You want some sauces there?
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Can you drown one of mine in some spice?
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sauce it?
Yeah, please.
I like that question. Sauce it? Sauce it.
Where's your chopstick?
There it is.
Oh, watch out.
Look out.
There you go.
Slayed it. It's great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Delicious. So, how is it? Good? Feel you learned something? Yeah? Cool. Well, that's why we're here. So, we got our fruits of our labor we're enjoying. Go ahead and spark those joints as well, doobies, whatever you'd like to call them. All right, so, got our sushi, got our doobie. Any other questions about the sushi rolling part or the doobie part? Anything? Like, was I informative enough about where to get the product and everything? Cool. Awesome. Great. Let me talk about fish. Considering that I come from a very small fishing town in Alaska, south central Alaska in the Kenai Peninsula. I was born about a quarter mile from one of the top 5 salmon ran streams. It's actually called Salmon Creek. But I grew up very young age fishing and filleting fish, commercial boats and all of that. And I've been here now for 8 years. But what I've noticed since moving here is the failure of the eye to know what quality is with fish. Because we see and eat with our eyes that the things that they're doing to fish these days is falsing us and making us having us eat stuff that we don't even really know what they have put in it before we're ingesting it. So for tuna, for example, a lot of the tuna that people eat at sushi places, like I said about the ground, is not good quality tuna. They're buying it from bad places. It's coming from bad waters, places where there's lots of iodine in it. If you've seen where they've have seared tuna on the menu and it comes out and it looks very bright, almost pink, it's because they've pumped it full of carbon monoxide to help retain the color of the fish so they can freeze it. So, what you should look for is first, smell. It's first thing, of course. If it smells fishy, it's not good. Fish should never smell fishy. It should smell like the ocean. And if you don't know what the ocean smells like, go walk the beach. It smells great. There's a little salt in it. You can smell a little bit of that. To me, it's that umami, that flavor that I get from a lot of Japanese dishes, that seaweed. All that stuff is pure nutrients. So what you're looking for is that fresh ocean smell. You're looking for vibrant color. When you touch it, it shouldn't be sticky or oily. White flesh fish should be very white. Salmon should be vibrant, but also salmon changes depending on which salmon or which time of year. Double check what the seasons are for the fish that you're actually getting. Salmon, if you're getting wild, which you don't want to eat farm salmon. The wild only has a small window. It's from May to September. So all fish have their different windows. And again, like I said, research it, double check what you're eating all the time and see if that's a good quality product. A lot of the hamachi they're doing, pumped full of carbon monoxide. So you got to double check them. Where's your hamachi from? You know, where's your halibut from? Most places you go and ask for halibut or eat halibut, they're actually serving you a California fluke, which is garbage. So you got to double check everything. If it looks opaque, it's probably not good. It should look clean. Shouldn't look dry. Smell, all those things. The color, make sure it's not turning to a different color on the edges. There's a lot of stuff. All right? Thank you very much.